Hey everybody, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about Windows 11. If you're not aware, it actually has been announced and you've seen a quick preview. There was actually a live stream for Windows 11 and they were just kind of previewing it and everything like that. And we just want to make sure you guys are up to speed and what you need to actually upgrade to Windows 11. Most of the time, if you have some very, very new hardware, you would not even think about it. But we did see some specs that actually we did see that are a little bit concerning, and we're just not really too sure what they're exactly trying to push for here. Most of the specs are pretty straightforward. You need 4 gigs of RAM. You do need 64 gigs of storage there. You need a modern processor that has at least 2 cores, and most people do have that. But there's also some other specs that we actually did see that was a little bit concerning on there. And you'll see some other ones you're maybe not too familiar with, and you'll see a lot of ones that you are. One of them that we're just going to focus on today is called a TPM. And what it is, you might have heard of it before. You might have not heard of it before. A TPM is called a Trusted Platform Module, and what it's going to do is it's going to help secure your computer, a hardware level of encryption that's going to go help and secure your computer from hackers, from malware, from other viruses, anything else like that. It does use something called crypto keys, much harder for hackers to get in, especially if they don't know or they're not aware of those keys. So it's actual hardware. For a lot of modern laptops, it's built into the motherboard, and for modern CPUs, it's also built into the CPUs as well. The TPM is used by the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, and especially a lot of businesses to secure their clients' data, and also to secure their own data. So you may be wondering if you actually do have this in your system, and why does it really even matter? For Windows 11, you need a TPM 2.0 to upgrade. And if you don't have that, you might get an error that says that you're not able to actually upgrade to Windows 11 because of based on your spec requirements. And you might have bought a laptop from a few years ago, and it won't even match that, which is very, very strange. So what seems to be what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to push forward more of making Microsoft a very, very secure platform and to put security first. And what this is going to do, this is always better down the line, is that you're going to have more of a secure-based Windows operating system to work with, and any laptops and computers that are shipping, they're definitely going to have to make sure that they meet the spec and that they meet the spec for the future. So for any other computers going in the future, that it's going to be harder for hackers to get into your computer and just a more secure platform in general. So how do you know if you have it? Well, you can go ahead and check it out. There's actually the number one thing to do is to check out through an app called the PC Health Check app, and it's available through Windows. There's actually a link in the Windows 11, but right now it says coming soon, so who knows when it's actually going to come in this link, as you can see here. But it should be coming, and it'll be able to at least tell you your specs and if you're able to actually upgrade to Windows 10 based on all your specs, and it'll tell you if you have this TPM 2.0 requirement that it does meet. Another way to also check to see if you even have TPM enabled, which would be to go to the Windows search bar. You can type tpm.msc, and what that's going to do is it's going to show you if you do have that module actually turned on, and if it's enabled by your computer's BIOS, but it's not going to tell you if it's disabled. It just says it won't have it. So even if it says it's not there, you still might have it, but it's not enabled on your computer's BIOS. So it's not again the best way. The best way would be to go through the app. Another way, the last way to do it, and we don't recommend doing this because anytime you play with any of the BIOS settings on your computer, you could be locking yourself out of data or having any boot issues. So just always be careful if you're ever going to touch that. You usually go into the security tab of any of your BIOS, and you can see if TPM's there. Some of them do say that it's a 2.0 platform, or some of them do say that there's a 1.2 platform or module, but in most cases it's just going to say if it's enabled or not, and you can disable it or enable it from there. That's just going to help keep it more secure, keep of course your data more secure and everything else like that. Again, it's not the best way to go because it sometimes doesn't even tell you what version you even have in the first place, but at least you'll know if it's installed on there. So if you actually do have an older desktop, what you can do is you can actually buy, there's a TPM 2.0 module that will plug into the actual USB connector on your motherboard itself through the pin connector, and you can actually get a separate module that you can purchase through there. It is actually pretty expensive. We just actually took a look at it. You can see it's I didn't think it was going to be that expensive to actually get a secure module on there, but it's always something you want to be careful of, especially if you're taking apart a computer just to plug it in, just to upgrade to Windows 11. If you're really not sure, I would definitely, let's at least wait till at least Windows 11 comes out. There is a list of actual compatible processors. These do actually have the TPM 2.0 standard that actually are supported for Windows 11 officially. You can see that it's actually very, very new processors. It's an 8th gen Intel, so if you have an Intel based on 8th gen, which is the 8000 series or above, or if you have the Ryzen second gen series, so the 2000 series and above, then you should be totally fine. No worries at all. But if you don't have that, I'm sure it's some type of way compatible. It's very hard to say if you have like a 3 or 4-year-old processor that is not going to be compatible or not work. It's very strange to see that. We'll have to see it more in the future. We do see that there's actual documents on Microsoft's website that do talk about this feature and how you can and how for special cases you can actually bypass it. They're more for OEMs to do that, and maybe for more businesses that don't need it, that just want to put it on Windows 11 and don't need that actual requirement. Yeah, so go ahead. We'll leave all of the links in the description below. You can see those actual documents itself they're actually official Microsoft documents that talk about Windows 11 for each one, what the TPM is, and what a lot of other different specs are that you might need actually for your laptop or desktop computer. It shouldn't be anything you should worry about, especially if you bought something recently. You don't want to have to worry about upgrading, especially since the timeline for Windows 10 is 4 more years, so it's about 2025 of October. You still have a long time to upgrade, so I wouldn't have to worry about it right away. You don't have to rush out to go buy anything as soon as it does come out, especially if it's a new operating system. You definitely want to make sure that you wait probably like a few months or so, just so all the bugs are figured out, and if there's any issues, you want to make sure that you just stay away from just a little bit. You don't want to always update the first day you possibly get something. Especially if you have a laptop, there's lots of drivers, and some of those drivers sometimes cannot just be compatible with different versions of Windows. We've seen that especially with a 1904 update, and we've seen other ones that some manufacturers have trouble with the drivers, like basic drivers like a keyboard and mouse, and especially if it has to do with your data, you just always want to be really careful as well. Upgrading can possibly delete anything, and anytime you just mess with the operating system, there's always possibilities for anything to really go wrong. So, but one last point I did want to talk about is for something like this, if you're buying an older laptop or if you're buying any used parts or anything like that, you maybe want to build an old desktop with an older processor. This is maybe something that you just always want to consider for future-proofing your build or any type of computer that you're going to buy. Definitely want to make sure that you buy the latest that you possibly can. Always. You don't have to buy the latest and greatest, but try to buy the latest. Even though it won't be the highest end, at least you'll have a very, very new processor on the latest architecture, and that's going to be supported for the longest amount of time. That's one good thing, especially about computers. I know a lot of people like to buy used laptops and used desktops, especially for gamers out there. If you have a used desktop, you don't need a super high performance processor to get a decent frame rate. But if you're making a build like that and it's a cheaper build that you want to do more of a budget build, you may want to reconsider on some of the purchases until at least you see Windows 11, see when it comes out, and see when people install it, and if they're having trouble installing on older hardware as well. It's hard to believe, if especially on like older machines, if it's probably within even 6 years that you couldn't reuse it and put the latest operating system on it. I just don't see that really happening. There's no way to really tell until actually Windows 11 does come out to make sure that all of these are going to be taken care of and there's no real workarounds. But as of right now, they are making it apparent to everyone. They're saying you must have this. So it looks like we're going to go in that direction. But again, who really knows until we actually do get Windows 11 all in our hands, and especially we're a shop, and we'll be helping people install it as much as we possibly can on all their computers that they can possibly install it on. So anyways, guys, really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and found this video very informative. Please leave a like for more Windows 11 updates and anything else we want to talk about. I do want to really talk about direct storage. That's another feature that's coming on. Please subscribe when you can see that as well. And also other features that are going to be really interesting, especially when it comes out. I want to definitely make more videos about that and just other talking points for it, just to make you guys aware and how it's going to affect your everyday life and what you should do if you have older hardware and everything like that. Again, hit that notification bell. It really does help us a lot. So you can even know when we do upload. And we're almost at 5,000, so anytime you can help, hit that subscribe. It really does help. So appreciate it. Thanks to you guys for all the support and everything. And I hope you have a good one. Bye. All right, so TPM is also used by... So the government, so the U.S. government even uses TPM in a lot of their... So the U.S. government also has TPM as pretty much like a standard. So it's kind of like a... So the U.S. government does use TPM in